Alright, very good day to you. So today we are going to begin our today's lesson with something different from what we usually do in class. As you can see, today we are looking at the project that we are going to design, and there's something we're going to discuss in a short while as well. So what you see on this particular slide, you have three individuals that you probably are very familiar with these individuals. So towards my left, you can see that you have Daniel Radcliffe, the very famous Daniel Radcliffe, who was the actor for Harry Potter in the Harry Potter series. And then you have Abraham Lincoln in the middle, and Abraham Lincoln is the president, or was the president of America, the 16th president of the United States. And then you have Michael Phelps, very famous swimmer, and he has won a total of 23 gold medals in the Olympic Games. Very, very interesting. And what you see with these individuals, you can see their achievement and their success, but there's a lot behind them as well. And there's something common between them. There's something we are going to discuss for today. Do you know that in this case, Daniel Radcliffe actually had what we call dyspraxia? And then Abraham Lincoln and Michael Phelps, they have ADHD, so attention deficit hyperactivity disorders. So this is what we call neurodiversity. So there is a term that is used to describe these different disorders. So they are not disabled, but it's a special type of learning disorder that they have, but in a way it does shape their success in that many years. So I'm just going to move on to the next slide. Alright, so what we are going to do for this particular lesson here, we are going to look at what we call neurodiversity and brain project that you have to look into and design. So it says neurodiversity means that all brains are different. Neuro equals to brain, diversity equals to variety. It says all of our brains have their own unique strengths and challenges. This is evident in the different ways that we learn, communicate, think, and experience the world. So based on what I presented previously on that three individuals, as you're probably aware that yes, if you're talking about Daniel Radcliffe, for example, is something called dyspraxia, which affects the coordination and control that he has with his muscle tissues. But these individuals are able to showcase a different set of skills. And once again, that makes them very successful in the areas they are in. So it is not hindrance, or it's not a barrier to their own progress or performance. But it's something that we can also be looking into and trying to understand what are these neurodiversity that we are going to talk about, and what are the strategies that we can help these individuals to succeed when they grow older. So for example, if you come across a classmate, or if you have friends from outside school that have what we call neurodiversity, so think about what are the ways that you can do to help them as individuals so that they can become very successful in what they will do in the future. So I'm just going to move on to the next slide. So neurodiversity is a term coined by the Australian sociologist, so Judy Singer, in the late 1990s. And it's a contraction of neurologically diverse brain. Neurodivergent people have brains that are wired a little differently to the majority. It's the idea of inclusivity that extends to neurological differences, including hiring and retaining talent with neural variations such as autism, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, HDHD, dyspraxia, and dyslexia. So we did mention something about attention deficit hyperactivity disorders as well. And about those two individuals that I've mentioned before, about Michael Phelps and Abraham Lincoln. So ADHD, yes, it says that these individuals have attention deficit. It's not to do they are not able to actually sit down still for a short, for a period of time. They would like to, there's a lot of movements that involve. It's something to do with how dopamine, which is a type of hormone, something we're going to discuss more in class as well, that is expressed in a way that actually affected how they move, or the way their thoughts work. So it will affect their speech to a certain extent, or self-control, decision-making, and muscle control as well, which is what you can probably see with individuals who have ADHD. But bear in mind, these are not disabilities. These individuals are not disabled. They're just unique and different in their own way. But once again, they will become very successful as well when they grow older. So move on to the next slide. So neurodiversity is a combination of traits that are seen as both strengths and challenges. Depending on the neurodiverse variation and its intensity, individuals can display strengths in different areas, as mentioned before. If they are given the proper guideline and the correct strategy to help them to concentrate on the skills that they have, they can still become very, very successful. All right, move on to the next slide. All right, so continuing on this is the explanation for your project. So you are to create and submit an original short video or original infographic to highlight, explain, and promote an aspect of the brain focusing on neurodiversity. So some of the examples that you can use for your projects includes, number one, it says that explaining how people live with a particular neurodiverse condition. Number two, breaking down stereotypes that exist around people with neurodiversity. Number three, researching different forms of neurodiversity and teaching people about them. Number four, exploring ways in which neurodiverse people can be supported by the wider community. And number five, other topics related to brain and neurodiversity. So something for you to think about. You can choose one of these examples. You can choose other examples as well if you are interested. But the point here, we are going to look at the relationship between neurodiversity and the brain. And what can we do to actually help these people, or what are the strategies that we can do to support them? I'll use the word support them if they actually need your support in that particular sense. So something for you to think about. Moving on to the next slide. So it says that if you're going to create a video, these are the tips that you have to keep in mind. So choose a topic that's related to theme neurodiversity and the brain. Have a clear and accurate message. So make sure that your facts are accurate, it is clear, it says use language and information that is relatable to viewers and other students. Make it entertaining to watch, and your video should be under 90 seconds. All right, something for you to think about. And I'm just going to move on to the next slide. So it says here, if you're going to create an infographic, what you need to look at, you have to choose a topic related to the theme. This year's theme, once again, is neurodiversity and the brain. Present your information in a clear and concise format, using visual images or graphics, data, and text, but not too much of text. Make sure that your facts are up to date. Use language information related to other students, and make sure it's clear, it's interesting to understand and to look at. If you want to get to know more examples of how to actually create an infographic, you can go to Google and you can find more information on how to actually create your particular project. But in general, make it nice, make it neat, make it easy to understand. Make sure you have your title very clearly stated at the top. So your title should be the question that you are trying to investigate. And then you have information, you have evidence, you have data, you have diagrams. And make sure you do reference your work as well. So referencing is very important. So once again, you have your title, you have your introduction, you have the information, you have your diagrams, graph, tables that actually supports the information that you have. Make sure you do have a conclusion, followed by referencing that. Let's just say if you use a particular website, you use a particular journal paper, you need to include that as part of your referencing. So once you're done, make sure you do create your video based on that and your infographic, one or the other, depending on which one that you are choosing. Once you're done, make sure that it's submitted on time. I'll give you the due date back in class. And in regards to the marking rubric or marking criteria, I'll provide that to you as well back in class. So when we are having our discussion back in class, I'll give you more information on this so that you are fully prepared and you know what to do for your project. So I'll see you then.